Hey, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Now, a little bit of an interesting bit about riding. Now, if you're like me, you're kind of interested in the way your motorcycle works, how to make it work better, things you can do, those kind of things. Tips, a little bit of like science lessons and that kind of thing. Now, the tip today, if you're an off-road rider, you probably already know this one. If that's the case, then you can look around the room smugly at all your mates and go, yeah, don't worry, I knew that already. Of course you can. If you're a road rider, you've probably never heard this before. If you're an adventure rider, you might have seen this on a course or two, in which case join the off-road riders in some smugness. And what the lesson today is about is foot pegs. When to use foot pegs. Now obviously when you need to rest your feet, you put them on the foot peg, okay, that's fine. But I'm talking more about when to put pressure on foot pegs. Now if you're a road rider or someone who's never really done biking, what might sound like sense is that if a bike is leaning through a corner, it might make sense to push the inside foot peg, right? Because you know, it kind of helps the bike lean. That sounds like sense, it really does. Unfortunately, the thing is, you couldn't do anything worse than actually that. The trick to actually do is to push on the outside foot peg. It's called weighting the outside foot peg. Now, that sounds like an absolute load of garbage. How the hell does that work? How does that help anything? But let's take a look at something interesting. Right, as you might have observed, this is a tire. In fact, this is a Dunlop D606. It's not actually an off-road, or it's not a motocross tire. It's an adventure tire, but a very kind of dirt roady adventure tire. Ferrari's going to give it a try very, very soon. I'm very excited about that. But for now, I'm using this just to illustrate something interesting. Now, we said, it sounds like logic that if you push on the inside foot peg, it'll help the bike lean in. In fact, it doesn't really help at all. The handlebars are what makes the bike lean, not the foot pegs. But more so, it does something very detrimental. Have a look over here. So I'm leaning the bike over. Now, I'm going to use my hand to illustrate pushing down on the inside by pushing on the inside of the tire. Watch here. I'll do that again. Push on the inside. See that? It pushes the tire outwards. But what happens if you push down on the outside foot peg? Well, take a look here. So the bike's leaned over, you push down on the outside. See what it does? It actually pushes the tire kind of into the ground. It rolls the tire into the ground. So if you push on the inside foot peg, you lose traction. If you push down the outside foot peg, you gain traction. Now again, this works mostly in off-road circles, slower speeds, lighter motorbikes, it's more prominent, but you'll find the likes of MotoGP riders do use it. In fact, when you see them hanging off the side of their motorbikes like maniacs, you'll find that their outside, either their foot is on the foot peg or their knee is dug into the tank, and that's how they're holding on. That's where their pressure is, on the outside, pushing down for more traction. Whereas adventure riders and off-road riders, they use the outside foot peg, they push down on that, they get more traction. So there we go. The trick to getting more traction with your foot peg, don't push down on the inside, push down on the outside. There we have it.